going to talk a little bit about large animal behavior. Most of the animals that we're talking about this afternoon are herd animals. So herd animals are prey animals. So they work together like a herd, and that's compared to pack or predator animals. So example of pack animals are more like dogs or wolves, and predators, and we are predators, so we behave more like a predator than a prey. With herd animals, safety is always in numbers, so majority rules behavior. They want to move as one. Examples of herd animals can include horses, cattle, sheep, antelopes, goats, alpacas, something like llamas. A herd might have a boss animal, and isolation is a very strong stressor of herd animals. They want to stay together. If you are alone as a prey animal, you're more susceptible to predators. So a lone animal by itself is very stressed. Herd animals use body language to talk to each other. Their signals are very easily understood by others in the herd. And if we're working with animals, it's our job to understand their body language. Some examples are with their ears. So example with horses. Horses have longer ears. Their large ears can twist almost all the way around. So looking at the direction of where that ear is facing will give you an idea of where that horse's attention is. The upper image shows horses' ears that are forward, so they're very interested in something in front. A lot of times they will have one ear forward and one twisted back, so that they're, even though they might be looking ahead, they're also paying attention to something to the side. The ears can be sideways when relaxed, or possibly if the horse is sick. But it's the lower image, so what we call kind of the snake face. The ears are pinned back and the neck's extended, and it definitely shows displeasure or aggression. Now we see some examples of images. So the upper images show horses that have their ears forward. They're much more relaxed. They're interested in each other. Also looking at their eye can also give you a big clue as to the state of the animal. Looking at the lower image, we see a difference. You see what the eyes are very different, and the positioning of the ears is different. So you can compare that to the upper ones, that there's a big difference in terms of how those animals are reacting with each other. Looking at the eye, so on the left side, we see an eye that's much more wide and the whites of the eyes are showing, versus the other eye, which is much more relaxed. With horses, their tail position can also give you clues to what kind of mood they're in. So a tail is very high. A horse could be very anxious or very spirited, energetic. A lashing tail is a sign of anger, versus a flickering tail may be a sign of annoyance, or maybe there's flies that are biting. A tail that is really clamped down against the body does show fear or pain of an animal. Horses can also vocalize, of course. So a soft nicker is very low, and it's just a non-hostile sound. But a whinny is a little louder, so that could be from a horse that's isolated from its herd and is doing more of a loud whinny to try to, because that animal wants to get back with the rest of the herd. A snort can be a warning or invitation to play, and a squeal is loud and high-pitched, could be a sign of fear or aggression. Some of you might be familiar with Temple Grandin's work. Temple Grandin has done a range of different research and lots of papers that have given us a great insight into how livestock behave and how we can better work with them. When looking at livestock, these examples are the horse and the cow, we talk about their flight zone. So a flight zone is really a circle of personal space that's around the animal. So we all have our own personal space that we're comfortable with. And these days, you know, we're comfortable, less comfortable with people being closer to us than we perhaps were before. So the flight zone of an animal is the zone around it, where if you were to move into that flight zone, that can cause the animal to move away from you. So that's important to work with. If you do want to move an animal, you can move into their flight zone. If you want the animal to stop, then possibly backing up out of their flight zone. And this will also show, so you can be using this as an example of if you want to approach the animal or if you actually want to move the animal. Here's a video example showing low stress handling of cattle by knowing how to move with a herd and how to move in and out of their flight zone. So you can cause movement, and you can also improve on the direction of the animal, where you want that animal to go. Looking at vision for livestock, livestock can really have, they have a very wide angle of vision. With horses, you know that their eyes are on the sides of their head, so they can really see quite all the way around, almost all the way around their bodies. So cattle and pigs have a very wide visual field, excess of 300 degrees. Sheep can have a smaller one depending on how much wool is on their head. It's important to know about the vision. You can try to move them by knowing about this. So example with pigs, you can use a solid portable panel, can be effective with stopping their movement. As I mentioned before, horses and other animals, they have a binocular field of vision in the front, but because their eyes are on the side of their heads, they can see quite a bit away around them. There are blind spots though. Horses and cows, they can't see directly in front of their head, and they also can't see directly behind them. So that's very important to know, especially if you're approaching them, to know that they can't see you if you're walking up behind them. They have excellent night vision, but they're very slow to adjust to light and dark. And they also have limited color vision. So with the vision, there's an expression with moving livestock or working with them that slow is fast. You want to make sure to give them time to adjust to whatever change or whatever situation they're in. So livestock will often lower their heads and stop to look at strange things on the ground. So give them time. Cattle, pigs, and sheep and horses will often refuse to walk over a drain gate, a hose, a puddle, a shadow, or change in the flooring surface or texture. So that's something to keep in mind if you're trying to move them. Think about what you're asking them to walk on top of, and if that's could be considered an issue. Animals will also often refuse to enter a building that looks dark. This is most likely to be a problem on a bright sunny day. So think about this in terms of if you're moving them from a bright sunny day into a dark trailer. Again, you might want to stop and just give them time so that they can adjust their vision. I mentioned earlier that our livestock are prey animals. So staying together is safety in numbers. They have very quick reflexes and a quick panic response. We've heard of that term fight or flight, but with herd animals, it really is flight or fight in most cases. They run first and they'll think later. They have a big fear of restraint and a fear of confinement. So important points to remember while working with animals. Always assess the animal's behavior first and foremost. Remain calm, confident, speak softly. No sudden movements, so don't chase them. And this is the same chasing them on foot or in a vehicle. Don't be a predator that's trying to chase down your prey. No loud noises, no yelling. Think about the sirens or lights that you're using. Let the animals calm down. Gather as a group. If you can, feed them something, feed them some hay, keep them occupied. The term slow is fast when working with animals. You'll have a much better outcome if you take your time. Be aware of how you're approaching an animal and respect its zone of awareness. This term with horses is look away, turn away, run away. A horse that's showing the first signs of these behaviors as you approach it is considering flight. And safety. Safety is the utmost important when working with and around horses. That's the most, sorry, not just horses. You can tell I'm from equine Guelph. I only have horses on the brain, but working with any animal, safety is very important.